Hi, it's Tracy Build. I am back to follow up on the podcast I did on follow-up calls. And the topic of this podcast is follow-up call systems. Okay, so hopefully you are thinking about your prime calling time, your 1 hour block. If you can do more every day. Blocked out in your calendar as an appointment, just as if it were a tour or an appointment with an outreach professional. It is important and a priority. And the other thing I want to say on that before I move on is if you have that time identified, say in the morning before lunch, I encourage you to have an afternoon backup call block and have that also blocked out in your calendar as a backup call block time. And what I found is when people do this, it's amazing. They end up using their fallback time about 40% of the time. In contrast to people who don't have a backup time, when their morning gets crazy and they get sucked into things they don't want to do and they miss their call time, what typically happens is they just don't make their calls. And we all know what's happening when you don't make your calls. So you want to have your morning and your afternoon backup. And if you get the calls done in the morning, boom, you have an extra hour in the afternoon to do other things that are important and a priority to you. If you do not choose to do what I'm advising you to do right now, remember, if sales are low, this is a choice you are making. If you're not maximizing your bonus opportunity, and in this economy, I'm sure you need it, that is your choice. We are giving you every tool possible to maximize occupancy, revenue, and your personal bonus potential, as well as give you better quality of life because you're working smarter by using proven systems and tools. So, once you have your call block, okay, and you want to start living that. The other thing is, we talked about in the last podcast, is having a very concise, thought out message with the goal in there of getting them to realize you just want to ask them a quick question. Make sure you say your number slowly and repeat it twice, okay? The other thing that I want to encourage you to do is when you make these calls is have a game plan. You want to call with purpose. You don't want to just pick up the phone and wing it. If you do that, and you're not going to believe me, so I recommend you get out a tape recorder and that you listen to a few of your calls, because what people are typically will do on these follow-up calls is one of two things. They're going to check in and just say, just calling to see how you're doing, or they call and say, I just wanted to see if you're still interested. That's, of course, after their introduction. Those are deadly. I have listened to thousands of calls on tape where we've taped them, and it just takes you down the wrong road. You get lots of no's, not interested, not ready yet. What you want to do, and the goal of your follow-up calls, is to identify more needs so you can continue to build value in regards to making a move to your property. Because really the fact is, if they saw the value, they would have moved already. But if they haven't moved, it's because they don't see the value in moving. And you may be telling yourself, well, everybody's going to move in after the holidays. I'm going to have 15 move-ins. Well, my question is, then have they deposited? Have they scheduled a move-in date? If they haven't, then that's false. They don't see the value. They've not even committed yet. And that is a good reason to make your calls. Now, don't forget, you have your follow-up to visit connection sheets. You have two of them. One of them is the first one you use after the tour. Well, if you've never used that on many of these leads that you're digging out of your database, use it. You could actually even, depending on what you know about them, or if it's somebody another marketer worked with, you could use your initial inquiry connection sheet. And you just word it for this call. You're just calling to learn more about, what they're trying to accomplish with a move. Could you ask a few quick questions and go into your connection sheet? Or if it's only been, a week, 2 weeks, a month, even 2 months, you could probably get away with that follow-up to visit connection sheet number 1. And then the other one you have is that next follow-up connection sheet where you attempt to book an appointment to get them on site, and if they object, then you turn the page over and you ask a series of questions in attempt to identify more needs and build more value and ask for that appointment again. The last tool you have is your old lead connection sheet. It's for old leads. Or we used to call that the established relationships. You may recognize it by that term. So I'm giving you 4 different tools that you can use with pre-thought out, open-ended questions designed to uncover needs regarding assisted, independent living, memory care, Alzheimer's, home health hospice that you can use to find out what's going on in their minds, what their concerns are, their deciding factors, timelines, decision makers. These are the things you want to be learning not just checking in to see how they're doing and trying to build a relationship that really is not built on any solid foundation other than, hey, I want to get to know you because in the end I want you to move. You want to be sincere. You want to really go into these calls prepared, and you will close more sales. So it's slowing down, being more methodical and thoughtful in what you're doing. Strategy. That's how President Obama won our election. If you read about his strategy during his campaign, his internet strategy, his language strategy, the campaign strategy. He was the underdog that came out of nowhere and won the campaign. Whether you like him or not, you have to like his strategy. It's what won him the election, the first African American in the history of our nation, and that's pretty impressive. So there's a lot to be learned. Good or bad, whether you like people or not, we always want to learn from their lessons. And I'm going to encourage you to step back, slow down, don't rush, make your 20 calls a day. On each lead, determine which connection sheet you need to use, and you might want to group them. I'm going to call all the people from my 2007 database first. I'm going to use my old lead connection sheet. Then I'm going to do that with my 2008, and as I go into my 2009 lead base, I'm going to start looking more at those other connection sheets available to me, and then of course, call all the people with the one sheet. Then once you're done with that, switch over to your next group, because you'll get into a groove and you'll start to really master each system and sheet, and you'll get better and better with each call. You're your own researcher. So, okay, I hope this is giving you what you need. Have a fantastic day. Pick up the phone, smile and dial, and make it happen. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.